Judge Jesse Berman. And this is a case that he was on. There's a lot of content here, and I'll be reading it so that you get a handle on what really impacted him. And so essentially what they found here is that the federal jails that serve this particular district in New York, Eastern District of New York, have had many problems, and they really have now come to the forefront. The example in this particular defendant's case was Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, MDC, which has a plethora of problems. Not to be outdone, that during the winter of 1999, a power outage left inmates without light or heat for a full week, while the polar vortex that we all experienced on the East Coast. And so dockets in this court and other courts in the Eastern District have been filled with cases which defendants are complaining about near perpetual lockdowns. Why are there lockdowns? Because there's no classes, or the classes have been reduced, first step back classes. And so what do you do with all of these inmates? They can't just be left to walk around on their own, especially in higher secure facilities. And these lengthy delays impact also medical care. It's gotten to the point, he notes, that it's routine for judges in both his district and the Eastern District to give reduced sentences to defendants based on the conditions. But the conditions here, this is just the canary in the coal mine. What actually is the Federal Bureau of Prisons is going through nationwide, as well as prisons and jails for the most part across the country. There are surely many reasons for these problems, but the one cited most often by the government, publicly and privately, by both officials from MDC and lawyers from the U.S. Attorney's Office, is the staffing shortage. And this severe staffing shortages have been there for years. As of November 2023, only 200 of the 301 authorized correction officer staff were filled. And of those 200 officers, 34 were either on extended leave or about to be transferred. So essentially, in summarizing, they only had about 55% of their full correction staff there. And that impacts everybody. When you're going to a low or to a camp, you're not considering the fact that you're going to be kept in isolation or in a two-man cell and that you can't go anywhere. Continuing, in the meantime, the only other way that they can see to mitigate this ongoing tragedy is to improve the ratio of correction officers to prisoners by reducing or not adding, at least not adding to the prison population, meaning that he's inferring that there may need to stop sending more people to prison. Continuing, under this 18 U.S.C. 3145C, a district court has the authority to order the release of someone otherwise subject to mandatory detention pursuant of Section 3143A and 2, if, among other things, it is clearly shown that there are exceptional reasons why the person's detention would not be appropriate. And so it's for the reasons below that the court concludes that the conditions in this example, MDC Brooklyn, qualify as exceptional reasons justifying this release. There is a limited safety valve from the general rule of mandatory detention. Under, again, 18 U.S.C. 3145C, a defendant is subject to detention pursuant to 3143A and 2, may be ordered release under appropriate conditions if two requirements are met. The first is the district court must find by clear and convincing evidence that the person is not likely to flee or pose a danger to the safety of any other person or the community if released. Second, it must be clearly shown that there are exceptional reasons why such person's detention would not be appropriate. And he goes into more of the legal phrasing, if you will,